And I've got an orange sash, as you can see.
Okay, you're getting closer to the real thing. All right. We have Guru Das all the way from Hawaii, who's with us. And we have Chaitanya Charan, right? Yeah, and he's driving. Yay. And we have Naman all the way from Amsterdam. Did I get it right?
Yes, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Amsterdam. Jai Ho. And let's see who else is coming on board. Okay, and we have Haripad. Haripad, long time no see. Hare Krishna. Jai. And we have Ajit all the way from Canada. Oh man, whatever the song is, however, I forget it. Patita Pavan Jai from Hudson, Ohio. Yay. Yay, Vasanta from Florida. And Uday from the Toronto area. Yes. Wow. Good, 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 good.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Manasi Ganga, right? They have Manasi Ganga here too. They're all over the place. Hare Krishna. Uday is the co-host now. Oh, really? Oh, all right. All right, we'll get started shortly. What time do we have now here?
It's 5:01.
I guess we should get started. Okay, welcome. And I have some devotees here. At least I have 3 here for the moment. And we are in New Jersey. That's how they say it. New Jersey. Depends on what side of the tracks you're on. Right? Okay. All right. Love the accent. It's so wonderful. And my main host here is Virat Rupa. We traveled. We'll see him shortly. We walked to Guyana together. We did the country on the ocean side. All right, good. So we should just start. We'll start with the pranam mantras to Prabhupada. We say this together, and then we'll do the Panchatattva mantra, the Radha Krishna mantra, which is the Maha mantra, and then we'll move over to our invocational mantra, which is on page 1 of the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, as it is, okay? And as it always will be, or should be. Okay. So, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane, Namaste Saraswate Deve, Gauravani Pracharini, Girivishesha Shanyavadi, Pastyatya Deshatarine, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. We'll go to page 1 of the introduction of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Just repeat after me. Om Ajnana Timarandasya.
Jnana Timirandasya.
Jnananjana Shalakaya.
Jnananjana Shalakaya.
Chakshur Unmilitam Yena.
Chakshurumritam Yena.
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Hare Krishna. I was born in the darkest ignorance.
I was born in the darkest ignorance.
And my spiritual master opened my eyes.
And my spiritual master opened my eyes.
With the torch of knowledge.
With the torch of knowledge.
I offer my respectful obeisances.
I offer my respectful obeisances.
Unto him.
Unto him.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Okay, so we're looking at chapter 17, and it's verse 17. So our group, we started here some time back during COVID. We're on our 4th year, Vaishnavi, or?
Yes.
That is so wonderful. And we're getting closer to the end of the Gita, and we're contemplating on what to do after this. Most likely we'll start with chapter 1 again. 1 once again. Okay, I'll do the Sanskrit here. And then the translation. There's no purport, but after the purport, we'll give a chance for others to read. Shraddhaya Pariya Taptung Tapastatriya Vidang Narahe Apala Kanshibhir Yuktai Satvikam Parichapshate. This threefold austerity performed with transcendental faith by persons not expecting material benefits, but engaged only for the sake of the Supreme, is called austerity in goodness. Jai. Now, I'll ask someone to volunteer to do the Sanskrit for text 18, another volunteer for the translation, and finally, another person can read the purport. So that's 3 people. And Vaishnavi can facilitate that. Any volunteers?
Okay, Manasi Ganga, you can start. After you finish, you can mute your mic. And then Naman would like to go, and Ajita Das is also mic open, so you can all read.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances.
Thank you.
Satkara mana pujatam tapo dambena chaiva yat priyate tadiha proktam rajasam chalam adruvam. Finance.
Next person.
Penance performed out of pride and for the sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship is said to be in the mode of passion. It is neither stable nor permanent.
Thank you. Next person.
Sometimes penance and penance and austerity are executed to attract people and receive honor, respect, and worship from others. Persons in the mode of passion are arranged to be worshipped by subordinates and let them wash their feet and offer riches. Such arrangements, artificially made by the performance of penances, are considered to be in the mode of passion. The results are temporary. They can be continued for some time, but they are not permanent.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for the reading and also the listeners. This chapter is entitled The Divisions of Faith. And the faith is divided by the 3 gunas. The category that one fits in is dependent on your intent, just where your heart is coming from. So when some people approach spirituality, it's coming from a very sincere platform, and that's in the mode of goodness. Those who are in the mode of passion sometimes seek some attention. Oh, I'm a great devotee. Look how beautiful my dhoti's tied. Or I got a sari. It came from the best shop. And I'm on the altar. And I'm like swinging the chamra fan around in front of the deities. Look at, I made it. I came from a Vaishya family. Now I'm a Brahmin. I made it. I can send videos to all my friends back home, and they can see how I made it to a higher status. Oh, and by the way, look at my home. I've got a big house in America, and it's much bigger than the houses in India. So I really made it. We've got 5 bedrooms in our house. How many do you have in your house? You know, all those kind of things. I remember being raised as a Christian person, and church was an interesting time. I mean, you know, the gentlemen at that time, they would be in suits. And then the ladies would come, you know, looking like Queen Elizabeth with a hat that tilts a little bit, you know, and there's a feather coming out, you know, and it was like a little bit like a fashion show. Oh, what am I wearing? What are they wearing? And then, oh, look at that person, you know. So it's a lot about attention and not so much attention given to the Lord. Now, when I first joined the movement, I think I approached it the way I approached it was in the mode of goodness, because but that doesn't mean that passion didn't flare up here and there, or ignorance. But we're not making fashion statements. The men shave their head. You were not allowed to have mustaches or anything or sideburns. Our devotees were simple. We didn't know how to do it the Bengali way, the something with like a ribbon in the front and then loop it around your waist and tie it sort of nice. That came a little bit later on. But in the beginning, we were pretty simplistic, And so that's the way the movement rolled in the mode of goodness. And then elements of passion start seeping in, and that kind of thing happens. So you have to look at your motives. You have to look at your drive. That determines very much where your shraddha, which is a word that appears here in 1770, where it sits. So, as it is said, faith can be divided into 3 basic categories. So we've been going through this chapter, exploring what it means, faith means, through these 3 filters. Okay, so 1718 dwells a bit on pride, and it's not the best place to be in, but nevertheless, you are in the place. And for those who hold the position or the title of Brahmin, one has to be very, very careful and always maintain a sense of being real, genuine. Don't be a farce. Think you're representing Guru, you're representing Krishna, you're representing Prabhupada. So act it, And it's not about me. It's about Krishna. So that's where it all lies. Become a transparent via medium. That means that let people almost see through you. You have nothing to hide. You are a sincere seeker or practitioner of the truth. So let the good side come through, and don't let darkness, pervade in this area or predominate. Okay, anybody have any questions or comments on this? Maybe you've experienced these things. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go right to number 19. We'll ask someone to do the verse in Sanskrit, then the English translation, and then the purport. That calls for 3 people. And people can volunteer. Vaishnavi, you can just line them up.
Okay. Danraj, you can read, and then Sandamini.
Yes, Mataji.
And Haripal, I can read also, Mataji.
Alright,
Both of us can read.
yes, okay, you can go, and then Vasanta last. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, you mean husband and wife are going to read together at the same time?
No, one after another.
Well, we have 4 people now.
Okay. Yeah.
There's only 3 spots. I don't mind if husband and wife read together. I think it's kind of cute.
Okay.
I'm not sure of which category of faith that the rest in. Goodness, passion, or ignorance, but anyways, let's give it a try.
Okay, Danraj, please start.
So should I go with 17.19?
That's right.
Okay. 1719. Muda grahed atmano yat padaye kriyate tapaha parasyat sadanat arthanam va tat tamasam udharatam.
Yes, thank you very much. Beautiful. Okay, next person.
Slow and steady, Sandamini. Penance
Penance
performed out
comes
of
out of
foolishness,
foolishness
with
with
self-torture, or
or
to destroy
destroy
or
or
injure
injure
others, is said to be
said to
in the
be
mode of
of
ignorance.
ignorance.
Okay, it definitely sounded like there was some acoustical issues there. It sounded like there was a reverb or like an echo, which is kind of dreamy. Thank you very much. All right. And that's the first time we ever did that one. A couple. All right, purport then for the last person.
Vasanta?
Hare Krishna. There are instances of foolish penance undertaken by demons like Hiranyakashipu, who performed austere penances to become immortal and kill the demigods. He prayed to Brahma for such things, but ultimately he was killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To undergo penances for something which is impossible is certainly in the mode of ignorance. Hare Krishna.
Okay, great. Yeah, so we have an example here from the Bhagavatam where Hiranyakashipu, who's known to be the first major dictatorial monster in Vedic history. And yeah, he was trying to achieve some goals, and one of them was to become very powerful. And in what is in his terms was to be immortal, to not die, for his body to be just a gorgeous body, one that would live forever, ever, or practically forever. Like some of the opportunities that arise for those who are in the heavenly planets. They live for a very long time. They don't tend to age. There's no, hint of that. Just one day they die. They drop dead. Okay, so foolishness, that's the term that Prabhupada uses. The word for torture is vidaya, and of course penance is tapaha. Hiranyakashipu did do that. Tamasam, ignorance. The word mudha, foolish, like with that is a word that appears in the Bhagavad Gita. Namang duskritina mudha parpadyante naradama. In chapter 7, there are 4 kinds of people that do not surrender, and one of them is the mudha. Someone who's foolish may work hard, but doesn't give any time to spiritual development. Hiranyakashipu's objective was to get the attention of the demigods. Brahma appeared, and he nodded. He gave Hiranyakashipu the power to be alive as long as possible, and not to be slain by any man or beast or animal, not to be killed on the land or in the air, not to be killed by in the daytime or the nighttime, etc. He thought he had the 100% perfect life insurance policy with the demigods. And Brahma nodded, and he actually said, yes, okay, you've got it. But Brahma isn't so foolish, There are loopholes, and there are clauses, I guess you could say. So Brahma knew fairly well what he was doing, and it was Krishna himself in the form of Narasimha who knew better than anyone else what's going on. Nobody can claim that they'll never die. This is impossible. Abrama bhuvana loka punar vartinorajana mamu pejatakondiya punar janma nividyate. That's from the Bhagavad Gita. Abrama bhuvana loka. Somebody can look up the verse in the chapter, the verse number in the chapter number. Abrama bhuvana loka. So what that means is from the highest planet to the lowest planet, all are places of misery because we all will die. From the position of Brahma down to an insignificant creature, Prabhupada said, from the ant to the elephant, or from Indra, the topmost heavenly god, to Indragopam, which is like a one-celled creature. All are in a miserable condition, and they will all die eventually. So that is the nature of the material world. For Hiranyakashipu to actually make a claim, I'm going to be around forever, I am immortal. And of course, he did perform austerity, he stood on his toes. Ants were eating his flesh, and almost to the point where there was just skeleton left, and his soul, the jiva, tended to float around within the framework of his skeletal structure. He was very determined, and that's admirable. He had lots of conviction, and that's what gets the attention of the demigods. So Brahma is that person, and he blessed him with a very good physique. He gave him a really good look, and that in itself can be a problem. Someone can come across to feel very proud. And exactly, that was Hiranyakashipu's downfall. He was just a proud person. Okay, so we call this kind of tapasya, or penance, that undergone or undertaken by Hiranyakashipu, to be in the tamasic category, mode of ignorance. Prabhupada also talks about these things. People do major fasts for political reasons sometimes. When I walked in Ireland, I started from Belfast, which is Northern Ireland, and I went down to Cork, the southernmost city in Ireland, where they picked up the last passengers for the Titanic before it set sail on the Atlantic. It's a very nice town, Cork, but where I started, it's practically another country. There's been all these skirmishes between the Protestants and the Catholics. And some of these guys were so into their so-called group, the clique, it's a clique group, that they decided that some of them were imprisoned, and they made vows, we're going to fast until to the point of death. So it was all for really political reasons. It's not. It doesn't have anything to do. It doesn't touch spirituality whatsoever. But I remember walking through some of those neighborhoods where the people in Belfast were very, very passionate about their faith. And there was so much hate, against between the Protestants and the Catholics. So this notion of fasting is questionable. It really isn't going to get you somewhere. Maybe it'll invoke pity in the public, but you don't really advance spiritually. I remember one devotee in Toronto, he was very upset about an article that appeared in the local paper, and he decided that that's not fair. I'm going to go in front of the newspaper, what do they call it? Newspaper office building, and I'm going to chant. I'm going to chant until they come across and do a favorable article. So he did that. Our GBC wasn't so favorable to it. Our temple president was questioning, is it really a good thing to do? But what did come out of it? First of all, we heard he's going to fast. Don't do that. He wanted fairness in reporting, in journalism. So, but he got it. They put out a real nice article with him on the drum, even though he didn't know how to play mridanga, but it just looked good. And, so we got something out of it. We did something that normally you wouldn't do, like Anutama, who heads up our communications. He would probably advise that's not what you do. What you do is you be proactive and you build up, let's say a favorable relationship with these people. Here's another one. This will make you laugh. Okay. There was another bad article that appeared in the paper. There was a time when they were sort of anti-religious and so on like that. So the biggest newspaper in the country did their little thing there, bashing at us. And we got the idea, let's get at that newspaper. Let's do it where it hurts. That is money not coming in. So newspapers make a lot of money on the ads. The thousands of dollars that come in every day. So what we did, we got on a campaign on the Sunday feast. And again, our communications department wouldn't approve of this, but this is so funny. The person on the microphone started this campaign. He said, okay, tomorrow morning, you get on the phone starting at 7 o'clock and you complain about this article. So you jam the lines, and actually many of our members got into it. They just said, okay, we're going to do that. We're going to be behind our temple. And they jammed the lines so nobody could come in. And in those days, everything was telephone dependent. And so even the writer of the article, she got very frustrated. Oh, I'm so tired of this, But something good came out of it. They were from that point on, they never wrote anything bad about us. So we had to, be a little bit fight fire with, just where it hurts in the pocketbook, we use that approach. And maybe it's in the mode of passion, but it kind of worked because that's where they're at. They have the power to influence you by misinformation. So we thought they're playing hardball. We'll play hardball. But because we're talking about the three modes of material nature, the real way to go about doing this is make friends with your religious editor. Of course, they don't have those things anymore. Those positions don't exist anymore. Just get on good terms with the newspaper. Tell them we have this festival, we have this. Please come and invite, and it's a beautiful thing. We're throwing colors in the air, and whatever the case may be. And so it's basically establishing a relationship with your people, instead of seeing them as aliens. So that is the symptom and the motive of passion to ignorance, to see everybody as your enemy. But if you can think more transcendentally and see that everyone's our friend. So I just wanted to say this before I open up for your comments and questions. When I started this walk across Canada in 1996, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to see everyone as my friend. Even if they're going to give me a hard time, which does happen. You get some, what they call redneck dynamics. I decided I just play it cool. And I tried to come across as everybody's friend. So, apply the philosophy of Prahlad Maharaj, the son of Hiranyakashipu. No one is my friend. No one is my enemy. We are all equal. We're all servants of, the one universe, etc. And that worked. It really did work. We had bad press in North America, both in the US and Canada, from the 75 to about 85 for about 10 years. And we wanted to change it. So I just had my own approach, and that was to go out there and let people know who we are. We're still alive, and I'm human, and we're ticking. Our hearts are beating, and we're just normal people. I'm a monk, and I'm walking for the spiritual healing of the nation. That was the line we used. And we got that advice from Anutama. He thought that would be a good phrase. So it worked. It worked. And I got to meet a lot of these journalists. They come out and, with their pen and paper, sometimes their tape recorder, because we had those things in those days. And we never had a bad article out of the dozens and dozens and dozens of, articles that came out. about this walk. So I got to know them better. They got to know us, and we were no longer something like some fantasy, or like some sinister cult, So we just used the approach was in the mode of goodness, Walking is in the mode of goodness, running is in the mode of passion, and riding a motorcycle is in the mode of ignorance. Okay, some people are gonna throw rotten tomatoes at me, but I just or in a car. Well, cars and motorcycles, cyclists, they oftentimes speed up more than they're supposed to. And so that is a mode of ignorance, not being obedient, And of course, we see the fatalities. The figures are pretty high. 1.25 million people die from car accidents every year. And more than that suffer from injuries. That's a lot of people. Because in a car, you're moving faster than is humanly possible. Running is okay, but it can exhaust you to a point. So that is the speed running at which we should be working at that certain capacity, right? Now, I didn't want to make Chaitanya Charan feel totally guilty, like he's a big criminal driving his car over there, his vehicles. Sorry, you work for Amazon still, right? Okay, it's a good company. We don't want to knock them down here until we find some dark, dirt on them. Up till now, that's a good company. Okay. Yeah. So one particular expert about travel, he said, no human should move faster than when you're riding on a donkey. Because if you ride on a donkey, you'll only go so far. And if you happen to fall, it won't be a major problem. Horses, mode of passion. You fall off a horse while it's in motion, you're going to break a few bones. So do you understand what we're saying about these three gunas, these three energies? It doesn't talk about the modes of travel. Chaitanya, I'm sorry, there's Lord Shri Krishna, who actually goes deeper with these things. Okay. Penances, austerity. You see, we're talking austerities of the mind. Austerity of speech, sacrifice, different types of sacrifices. We're also going to be looking at charity in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Okay, so that's how the Vedic perspective. That's how they color the world. It's three primary colors: yellow, blue, and red. And when you mix them, yellow and red becomes orange, okay? Yellow and blue becomes green, and so on. And so you have those different combinations. And that's why we end up with different species or departments, different kind of divisions of people. The Prabhupada explains 3 times 3 is 9. We're talking about crossbreeding, right? And then 9 times 9 is 81. 81 times 81 is? Come on, you important, you intelligent people out there. What is it?
162.
What did you say? 762?
6,561, Maharaj.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was very quick. And eventually it ends up with a round figure, 8,400,000 different divisions of bodies or types, body types, species. We use the term sometimes. So that's interesting, isn't it? How it works out. I'm just going to leave a period for your thoughts on these things. And at the end conclusion is definitely go for goodness. Don't follow the Hiranyakashipu parampara. It's not advised. Out of ignorance. Okay, great. Any questions? If we have any hands up in the air. And I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people. Tulsi, 9 people here in, let's see, just show up somewhere. And you see here in a household in New Jersey at 53 Promise Way. I'm rubbing it in. Was there a question? Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments on this wonderful subject matter?
Maharaj, I have a
Yes.
question, Maharaj. So when we talk about penances, what about Dhruva Maharaj, who undertook severe penances to realize God? Of course, it was a good purpose to realize God. But however, the penances he took.
Mother Sandamini, you
Yes.
started up really good, and now you're sounding like some kind of Rakshasi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's something wrong with your voice, so.
Okay.
We
Maharaj,
can all
I'm
make Rakshasa
It's better now.
voices.
It is much better now. Go ahead.
It's
Okay.
now? Okay. I said Dhruva Maharaja undertook severe penance, right, in order to realize God. And so, Maharaj, I would like to hear your take on it. Although he did for a good purpose, but isn't that penance and austerity not advisable? Please give your comments, Maharaj, and realization.
Well, you have 2 boys, right? And when they were 5 years old, would you consider that they should go to the forest and fast for 6 months? You think that'd be a good idea?
No, Maharaj. No.
Right, that kind of direction. I mean, he conjured it up. He actually came up with the idea. Okay, he was quite innocent about it. He's a 5-year-old kid. He's very naive and young and innocent. He can be excused for wrong actions. But, he was very hurt psychologically. This was a case of child abuse, like in modern day terms. His stepmother was very nasty, and his own father didn't correct her. And so he's guilty, like an accomplice to the crime. So basically the words that came from his stepmother, Suruchi, she said, you don't have the privilege of enjoying playing with your father, because you have to understand your mother isn't the favorite. I am the favorite. And since that's the case, if you want the pleasure of playing with your father, then you will have to die first. And then you can be born in my womb, because I'm the favorite mother. And then you can have that privilege, the same as your brother has. So this was very torturous for the kid, Dhruva, and he went to his own mother, with his feelings, his emotions. And she was not in a position to do much at that time. Her message was, don't wish anything bad for others. But he says, I want to prove that I'm somebody. I got humiliated. I want to prove that I'm someone. And so I want some powers. I want some strength. And little boys often think like that. I want to be strong. So, or can I find it somewhere? And she said, well, usually the strongest people are the yogis who are and she said, where do you find them? Said, in the forest. So we decided to go to the forest. And to perform austerities, he got some idea, because we're talking about Satyuga age when you see people doing sacrificial things. You see, your eyes are open, and you imitate. Young kids, 5-year-old kids, they imitate what their mothers and fathers do. So he performed austerities. First, he ate what he saw on the ground, and he did meditate. Narada Muni gave him some idea how to do the pranayama and the asanas and so on like that. So he did that, and also gave a mantra. So he first started, the young boy started eating what's on the ground, and somehow or other he knew what was the right thing to take: berries, some wild vegetables, raw. It was a macrobiotic diet. There was no barbecue. But there, although he probably learned how to light a fire. But he took it really well, and he fasted from that. He just took water after a while. After water, he just took in air, and in an incremental way, he had his program, his method of sacrifice. So, what was his drive? Why did he want it? Because he wanted to achieve a kingdom that would excel the opulence of Brahma or Shiva, like in the heavenly planets. And that was his purpose. In the process of his austere life, he became somewhat purified, and he had a change of heart because he met Narada, and then later on he met Vishnu. What incredible installments! Narada Muni, and then Vishnu himself. After you see Vishnu, that's it. You're it. You're finished. So Dhruva, he actually performed austerity that you can say is classified to be in the mode of ignorance, passion to ignorance, passion. He just wanted to have a nice palatial building, and but then it shifted over to goodness, or even pure goodness, since he met these enlightened souls. So that is how we can judge his penance, the intent that he had, which shifted. So it went from a lower mode to a higher mode. Does that answer the question? Okay.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
Now you're not going to get any ideas, right?
No, Maharaj. Not.
All right, that's a good thing. Now, Dhruva had come to a very high level of spirituality, but there was still one little thing. It's called anger. Anger was still in his heart, and it kind of surfaced again. When his brother was killed by some tribal person, he wanted vengeance, and he got really angry. So, but his anger was checked by one of the elders, you could say, one of the Manus, one of the ancestors or forefathers. And that's the beautiful thing about the Vedic culture. All the generations, they all have some sense of decency, a practice, understanding Dharma, what's behind Dharmic practices. So that's how Dhruva's life was destined. He regained his respectability after he released all the anger, and it was one of his elders who told him, "You got to stop. This is it." And he respected his elders. That means everything. And those cultures that deny ancestral power, wisdom, I think they're just doomed. They're just doomed if you just think you know everything, and that the more experienced people don't have anything to offer. Just trailing off a little bit, we have a little bit of the problem with that in our Hare Krishna movement. We have young people, they're the best kids. Okay, my phone just... we have the smartest kids. They're respectful. They are kind. They're clean. They're intelligent. I'm just telling you, that's the devotee children are really, really special, And they want to do something for the movement. They have an attraction towards kirtan, which is amazing. They also have learned through their education, which was very much imposed upon them by their parents. They've got some skills. They like to offer their skills as a service to the movement. But we sometimes find that the elders who have all this experience and wisdom are approached by their generation under them, and they feel a little bit threatened, meaning that your look on your face means I have to clarify. Feel a little threatened because maybe they're good at promotions. They maybe speak a language that's a little bit more, let's say, to the modern day, because they invested so much time. And yet there is a resistance on the part of the elders, There's a wall sometimes. I've seen it in many places, a wall. And the young people, sometimes, not every time, young folks want to come in and they want to do things a slightly different way. And they try to maintain respect. So my message is, don't stand in the way. Listen to some new ideas, because the intent is good. The intent is what they received from their parents. So I hope I didn't hurt any feelings here. I didn't crush anybody's ego. Okay, so those are some points I wanted to make. You may agree with me, you may not. You can throw Rotten Tomatoes a second, try let it. It's okay, I don't mind. I know I'm just telling the truth right now. All right, from experience. Thank you for the Sandamini for asking the question. Anybody else have any realizations on this topic?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I have a question.
Yes.
In India, there is a big industrialist. His name is Birla.
Yes.
I've seen many temples, but the temple names are called Birla Mandir. Birla Temple. So they may construct a nice Vishnu temple. They name it as, they call it a Birla Temple.
Right.
So, what of passion?
Well, the fact that they're opening up temples is really fantastic. You can't beat that, and I know they're pretty clean. The deities look beautiful. In general, they look well looked after, Didn't Gandhi, by the way, do his last prayers before he passed away? The Birla Mandir, wasn't it? He did some prayers. And before the assassin came on. And so that is one thing. And, okay, according to the tattva here, the truth, perhaps it's a little tainted with some recognition. I don't think we can fault it very much, if you understand what I'm saying. I don't think that, I certainly am not compelled to do that. I think it's amazing that a fairly well-to-do family in India is building temples all over, maybe outside of India too. I don't know. I just think it's pretty remarkable. It's very rare. And so I wouldn't offer any criticism. Is that okay?
Yeah, thanks.
No, I'm not going to say that the Birlas are demons. Okay? Because they're not. They're doing pious deeds. And that's something to take note of. Yeah. All right. We know when we build our ISKCON temples, people would like to, we encourage them to contribute, and we'll put a big plaque with the names of you and your family on there. And there's nothing wrong with that. After all, a little bit of recognition, a little bit of appreciation goes a long way. That means you're simply cultivating, let's say, wholesome relationships. And bhakti is about relationships. It's about rasa, your relationship with God, your relationship with your peers, the people who are, right next to you, doing service, seva with you. We should cultivate those good relationships, and it's good to say to thank people for their services. Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
But it's a good question. It really is. Thank you. It's very, very specific. Anything else?
Please accept my obeisances, Maharaj. At your lotus feet. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you okay. There was a little flaw there. You said something about lotus feet.
That's your lotus feet, Maharaj.
Okay, Haripad, go ahead.
So I recently saw that the Pope washed the feet of some, I don't know if it's annual ritual of some devotees of some Catholics, and it was made into a big event. It happened in the Vatican, and then, it was in a very grand hall, with a lot of show and pomp. But it was quite nice that the leader of the entire Catholic movement is washing actually the feet of some very ordinary people. But then I also know that, like in Wimbledon, when the royal king and queen come, the tennis players are supposed to bow down to as they enter the thing and as they exit. And I don't know if it's I don't think it's a religious tradition, but I noticed that some people refuse to bow down, and then it becomes a big hue and cry. So, but my question to you, Maharaj, like in ISKCON, in the Hare Krishna movement, would you be willing to wash the feet of or the feet of a devotee?
Yeah, that's very personal. I've given massages to devotees. Just 3 days ago, I gave. Sorry, someone was trying to call in. Yes, I'll do it. No problem. Give me the water, and I'll wash your feet. Yeah, no problem. No, I think it's a very honorable thing that concept came from Jesus, and it is a concept of humility. I'm almost impressed with what Krishna did in that regard. He looked after the footwear and the feet of the people at the Rajasuya Yajna, and he's the Supreme Personality of God. He is the highest ranking person, and he took the most humble position. So such gestures are acts of humility, and it shows you're spiritually rich. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Maharaj. I'm sorry to. Last year we did I don't know if this is a specific term, but in our house, when you visited and had the home program, we did the same very nice, feet washing act, and it was very, very nice. We enjoyed it very much. Maybe next year when we we should have that. It's very enjoyable. All of us enjoyed doing that very much. Thank you, Maharaj.
Well, thank you. From my end, I get it's very embarrassing, It's tough to take that kind of seva, to be honest with you. Yeah, but thank you very much. These are good questions and good reflections, Prabhu. So now we have about 5 minutes left before it's 6 o'clock. And we're just usually going to take this session for takeaways. We would like for you to restrict yourself to 4 words as to what is your takeaway based on what we just discussed about austerity and penances, in particular, those categories. They're pretty much the same. So if you could, we would like everyone to open up, and our host Vaishnavi is usually pretty good at this, and we're just asking everyone to say 4 words. Give it a little thought. 4 words on the summary of what you want to take away, that you want to embrace and put into practice. Okay, so we'll ask devotees not to, when it's your turn, to say, "Oh Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances." We just need you to just get right into it, to stick to the flow, the Ganges flows. Don't interrupt it, okay? So, Vaishnavi, are you prepared to do that?
Okay, Maharaj. Yes. So we start off, we'll be doing it alphabetically. Ajita Das Prabhu starts off this.
Okay, give the youth a chance.
Give the youth a chance. Very nice. Okay.
Arjuna. Okay, Chaitanya Charan, are you driving? Okay, maybe if
I can say something. Don't be proud like Hiranyakashipu.
Don't be proud like H. Okay. 5 words. Don't be proud. Slash. Hiranyakashipu. Good. Very good. Bravo.
Dhanraj.
Pure sattva, rajas, and tamas.
What can you open up? I got the last 3 words.
Pure sattva, rajas, and tamas. These are my 4 words, my 4 takeaways.
Okay, great. And we should be sattva in sattvagun, right?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
Manasi Ganga and the Dharma Prabhu.
See all beings equally.
See all people equally. The Prahlad vision, right? Very good. Dharmaji.
Austerity in mode of goodness.
Austerity in the mode of goodness. Thank you. Bravo.
Hi, Gaura Prabhu.
Devotee association, very important.
Devotee association, very important. 4 words. Thank you.
Dev Prabhu.
Avoid penance in the mode of ignorance and in
Avoid.
passion.
Okay. All right. Avoid penance.
Chaitanya
In the mode
Charan.
of ignorance,
Yes.
Chaitanya Charan, I can say, if not Haripad.
Penance without expecting respect and honor.
Okay. Nice.
Manasi Ganga. Oh, sorry, you did. Naman. Naman, are you awake? Patit Bhavana Balaram Das Prabhu.
Don't be in their way.
Don't be in their way.
Purna Charan.
You got a good laugh out of that.
Good one.
Sankalpa. Sankalpa. Sandamini.
Austerity in the mode of goodness.
What about it?
It's great, Maharaj.
It's great.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree.
Vasanta.
Charity without any expectations is mode of goodness. Charity given without any expectations is a mode of goodness.
Okay, that's a little more than 4 words, but we'll excuse you. No problem. Krishna will forgive you.
Chaitanya Charan Das Prabhu, are you able to say? Otherwise, we can go with who is sitting in your room, Maharaj.
Okay. Yes, we'll start with just clockwise, okay? And we'll start with Mataji here and the golden shutter.
Tell your kids to do whatever they want if they have a good intention. I don't know if it's a little awesome.
Can you give us 4 words? It's an art, you know. How about give kids a chance? Okay. Okay. Very nice. Prabhu.
Be down to earth.
Be down to earth. 4 words, yay. Let's see.
Believe and trust.
Believe and trust Krishna. It's a nice general term. Believe and trust Krishna. Everyone agrees with that? If you do, put up your hand.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Be humble, tolerant, and kind.
Okay. Be humble, tolerant, and forgiving. Okay. Okay, I'm sticking to 4 words. Okay.
Be open to change.
Be open to change. Very good.
Don't run, just walk.
Don't run, Justin. I like that. Okay, where are we? Like, how can you see yourself? Or
Focus on goodness acts.
go focus on goodness acts. Okay, great. And my dear, yeah, put out the group. Go ahead. Respect your elders. Okay. Respect your elders. Good. And the last? Love all. Serve all. Love all. Serve all. I like that. Great. You. Good on you. Love Krishna. Love Krishna. Okay. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. It's been a pleasure. I have to zip off to the airport and to catch the next festival. It's in Huntsville. We're opening up a new temple, restaurant, and living facility. And you're all invited to come. All right? Huntsville.
You can distribute cookies.
Distribute cookies.
Totally. This is when we miss out, Maharaj.
Okay. Okay, I'll distribute it here. So everyone's forced to come close. Okay. Okay. You have to come closer, Prabhu. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you. What a nifty idea that is. Thank you. Eat your heart out over there, Prabhus. Be jealous.
Is that Huntsville, Alabama, Maharaj? Which Huntsville?
What's that?
Wait, is that Huntsville, Alabama? I'm just curious where this new
Huntsville, Ontario.
Ontario. Oh, nice.
Yes. Thank you. Next time you come to Canada, you can visit us there in Huntsville. Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhu, are we organizing a trip for the new opening in Muskoka? Are there people from the Toronto temple going? If people want to join?
Yes. You'll have to get somebody from the temple council. You can ask them if there's anything like that happening. I'm sure some people may be able to offer rides. Anybody else? Yes. So I'm in New Jersey right now. I can't help you out with that, right? Okay.
Martin, did you get the rest?
And when is the Muskoka temple opening? Is that on the 19th?
Yeah, then there's two things. Tomorrow there's the installation of the deities. Thank you so much. And then on the 19th, there's the Festival of India happening there. Okay?
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
We
you
hope
so
to
much,
see you next
Maharaj.
week. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Bye. Thank
Vancha
you.
kalpatarubhyascha
Oh,
kripasindhubhyascha
better do it the right way.
anam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo
Vancha
namaha
kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyascha
vasindhubhya evacha
patitanam
patitanam
pavanebhyo
pavanebhyo
vaishnavebhyo
vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Jai, thank you so
Jai
much
Maharaj.
for the gifts. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Mataji, Vaishnavi Mataji. Thank you.
Krishna.